everyone. So you probably heard the story about Trump referring to Haiti and some African nations as shithole countries. Now, the sources are anonymous, tips given to the Washington Post, and the specific claims have been denied. So I have to say that whether or not this is true, I am disappointed in Trump. Because if he did make that exact statement, he should admit it. And if he did not make that exact statement, he should admit to it anyway. So in the West, children are taught not to say certain words. They are not necessarily taught to be respectful or logical, and in fact, the level of seriousness to which a parent holds curse words is the degree to which they will achieve the opposite. This mindset reflects an inability to distinguish words from meaning, and the fact that one word has multiple definitions, that a word can change meaning depending on who is speaking and how they intend to use the word, and that we have non-curse words with identical meanings that are not deemed vulgar, each present an insurmountable obstacle to the Pavlovian approach to right and wrong. I believe that this is an accurate depiction of the approach to morality employed by the vast majority of humans, and that what is called morality tends to be nothing more than a pile of sophist justifications designed to tie up the loose ends. But why does this story make such a fantastic example? That's the real question, right? The reason is because nobody contests that these countries are
chocolate starfish countries
compared to the West. The context of the conversation that lawmakers are making special efforts to bolster immigration from poor, underdeveloped, or war-torn countries requires these countries to be shitholes. Nobody is upset over the actual content of the phrase. They're upset because they were trained as a child to have a Pavlovian reaction to the word shit. And that they haven't overcome this approach to morality is a measure of their virtue. They are overgrown moral children, except they don't have the saving grace of ignorance and naivety that children have. So such a person expresses more outrage toward Donald Trump saying a word that they don't like than the fact that the boomers are tit-sucking communist parasites who thrive off the labor of the unborn. They have nothing to say to those Americans who felt so entitled to their own opinions that they think they have a right to vote for socialist healthcare, education, regulation, monetary policy, everything. And when I say that anyone who voted for Obama could be indentured into slavery for their entire life without putting a dent in the amount of harm they've done to the country, I mean it. That is not hyperbole. It's literally objectively true. The West is a culture of glass houses where people throw rocks on credit, on the unborn's credit. The promises of the left are backed by a systematic mugging of the most vulnerable conceivable class of humans, potential humans whose
chocolate starfish
parents, grandparents, and great-parents decided that abolishing slavery was a step too far. So many who claim that race is the primary motivation behind this shithole comment, they've unknowingly shot themselves in the foot because they simultaneously have to recognize that these countries aren't doing that well. Because if they were, then there would be no grounds for arguing that a merit-based immigration system is somehow racist. And in fact, if it were truly ignorant to call these countries
chocolate starfish,
then such an immigration standard would actually prove the alt-right wrong. Like, resistance to immigration reform, to Trump's immigration reform, is an admission that you don't genuinely believe that these countries aren't
chocolate starfish countries.
And, there's this one thing that we know for sure, which is that actions speak louder than words. And of course, we also know that words are cheap. And I think that some of us have just forgotten that. So, to conclude, I'm just going to say that you should judge a man not by the color of his words, but by the content of his statements.
Hi bitch,